Hi everyone, my name is Robin Valentine, and I've got an extra special video for you, as if I don't say that every time. Last night, I watched a new film called Talk to Me. It was released by A24, who we love, because, let's be honest, when does A24 ever put out bad films? It doesn't happen. I've got a lot to say on this film, and more so just how it surprised me. There's a lot of symbolism in the movie, and I just feel like I need to talk about it with someone, and nobody else I know seems to have watched it yet, so here I am online. The film begins at a house party where a gentleman that we're following goes to pull his brother out of a room. When he does so, his brother is all disheveled and rough looking. As they're trying to exit, he realizes that the attendants of the party are filming them. So as he naturally tries to shoo them away, he turns back to his brother only to get stabbed. And not long thereafter, his brother turns a knife on himself. Now we're at a skate park with a young man named Riley. He's with a friend, and Riley gets picked up by a girl named Mia. She is living with his family, and this is the 2-year anniversary since her mom took her own, On their way home, they come across a kangaroo in the road that is near the point of death, and come to find out, or as I've come to conclude, the kangaroo is symbolic of grief and Mia's inability to move forward from her mother's passing, just constantly in pain. Hi everyone, this is post-editing Robin. I just wanted to add one point to the video. I believe that Mia's refusal to put the dying kangaroo out of its misery is also supposed to represent her unwillingness to address her grief as well. Later on at the house, she is showing videos to her friend Jade of people who are allegedly being possessed at this house party. Naturally, curiosity gets the better of her, and she has to go investigate for herself. When they get to the party, her, Jade, and Jade's boyfriend, Daniel, I believe is his name, a hand is brought out, the origins of which are never fully explored throughout the film. There's speculation on what it is and how it works, but we don't know anything for fact. And Mia decides that she wants to be the guinea pig to see if the videos are real or not, to see if the possessions are actually happening. Lo and behold, it is true. The hand works like that of a Ouija board, where it is a conduit to reach out to the spirits and communicate with them. But to do so, you have to not only be willing to allow them to talk to you, but also allow them to possess you, because apparently they can't do so on their own, or at least not in this context. So Mia goes ahead and gets possessed, and unfortunately, it doesn't go as planned. It is explained and theorized that you can only be under possession for 90 seconds, or the demon's gonna want to make your body their new host. And unfortunately, Mia does stay under possession for more than 90 seconds. And the time being, it seems as though she's fine, but this will come back later on in the film. When asked about her experience, she describes the possession as basically being blissful, that it was amazing. The hand represents vices, I would say, that people will turn to in times of grief, sort of like drinking or drugs. Instead of dealing with the grief of her mother's death, she is now chasing the high of being under possession. So she goes ahead and reaches out to the people who have the hand, Haley and Joss, and goes ahead and basically sets up a little private house party there at Jade's home. And at first, everything's going well. They're all having a great time, taking turns being possessed. And it comes to a point where Jade's younger brother, Riley, he is adamant about trying it himself. Well, after some push from Mia, or encouragement, I should say, they decide that Riley's going to go under possession for 50 or 60 seconds. The demon that possesses him presents itself to be Mia's mother, which I don't believe it ever actually was. I believe that it was a demon using the image of Mia's mother to earn her trust and slowly wear her down. And while Mia was more susceptible to the demons given the exposure time of using the hand, I also believe that part of why she was so susceptible to their influence came from the fact that she was already grief-stricken. So she was already a tortured soul that they could easily prey upon. Upon the quote-unquote realization that it was Mia's mom possessing Riley, she abandons the little 50-60 second time slot because she wants to continue the conversation. And not long thereafter, Riley's possession becomes very violent when he starts to inflict wounds upon himself to the point of utter mutilation. He ends up put in the hospital, and anytime he starts to come to, he goes back to trying to self-mutilate. He is very violent with anyone who's around him. They try to come up with a game plan. They even relocate the gentleman who was seen at the beginning of the film to try and pick his brain as to what happened with his brother, because as it turns out, his brother was the last person to own the hand, which is how Joss came into possession of it. Unfortunately, Cole really doesn't have an answer for them. Aside from just don't use it anymore and eventually you can break the influence from the demons. But Mia is very guilt-stricken by the fact that Riley only got to use the hand per her insistence and was exposed longer than intended because of her insisting that they don't call off the possession. Mia comes up with a plan. After discussing it amongst the group, they seem to come to the conclusion that they did not end the session by not blowing out the candle, because part of what happens when they're being possessed is the candle acts as basically a door for the spirits to enter through. So when the candle is out, that door is closed, or at least that's how I understood it. They get the idea, or rather Mia, that they just need Riley to use the hand again and they'll blow out the candle, which should end the demon's ability to possess him. I personally believe that that idea was always going to fail because Riley did not have the autonomy to call upon the demons himself. The way I've understood it is the demons can only possess you when you give them permission, and because he was essentially in a coma, he could not give them that permission. So therefore, they can't just put his hand to this hand, blow out the candle, and that's going to fix everything. So Mia, seeing as how it doesn't affect him, gets the idea while in the hospital, what if I go ahead and grab the hand again, to try and call upon Riley's spirit, see if I can't locate where he might be in this plane of demons or what have you. Well, who ends up popping up is a little girl, and Mia requests, can you show me where Riley is? The vision that the girl gives her is that of basically a demonic plane where Riley is being tortured. Is that vision true? Probably not. It was, I believe, the demons working in conjunction with each other to wear down Mia and further push her into their own devious plans. I can't quite remember where this happened in the film, but there was a point where Mia is all alone with the hand and she is using it by herself to contact her mom, or the demon pretending to be her mom. It got my brain thinking, well, if she's by herself and considering that they seemingly need another person to pull them off the hand, then who was there to pull her off the hand? Are we to understand that she removed the hand on her own? She's an unreliable narrator, so we can never be truly sure of what she's saying or what she's seeing actually being true, because a lot of it is shown to us through her own perspective, her own lens. Well, we come to find out that her mother did in fact take her own life, and the father presents to her the note that she left. Mia has a very hard time accepting it, especially when this demon presenting herself as her mother is insistent that her father is lying about the circumstances regarding her passing. And it culminates to Mia accidentally stabbing her father in the neck because she is under the belief that a demon presenting itself as her father is currently attacking her. Mia decides that the best way to help Riley is to just go ahead and take his life, which calls back to something earlier in the film where it is said that if you die while under possession, the demons will have you forever. So Mia isn't quite thinking straight, and the demon presenting itself as her mother is not helping anything, nor are these reoccurring visions, because aside from her mother, she has also seen other demons, like this one old lady who starts sucking on the foot of Daniel, who is Mia's ex, but also Jade's current boyfriend. And when she comes to, it turns out it's Mia with Daniel's foot in her mouth. So Mia coerces Jade out of the hospital room by calling her to have to come over to her home. When Jade gets to her home, that's when she realizes what's happening, and Mia convinces Jade's mom to give her a moment alone with Riley. She tries to kill him but can't bring herself to do it. So she decides, I'm going to go ahead and wheel him out and push him into traffic. Well, when Jade gets to Mia's home, that's where she finds Mia's dad, who is still bleeding out from the wound Mia inflicted upon him. She calls her mom and says, you have to be careful. Mia's dangerous. Like, go check on Riley. And that's when they all find out, like, she has taken him from the hospital room. So Mia has Riley in a wheelchair, is about to push him into oncoming traffic, but right at the climax, she ends up jumping herself in front of traffic. And it kind of makes sense to me why she did that, because the demon presenting as her mother starts to slip with some of the verbiage and is basically saying, do this for us. It's no longer, hey, help Riley escape. It's like, give him to us. Nefarious. And I believe Mia's character finally put that together. Well, next we see Mia in the hospital. She appears to have survived her injuries, being hit by oncoming traffic as one does. But as it turns out, she did die from her injuries. So her friend Jade and Riley and the mom, they're leaving the hospital. Her dad's leaving the hospital. All the lights are going out and she is just stuck there. Well, while she's in pitch black, suddenly a light appears and she's drawn to it. Next thing you know, she's at a party holding a guy's hand. We don't know exactly where. They're all speaking Greek, so I think it's safe to assume that perhaps they're not in Australia anymore, but that's not 100% sure. And while I wasn't initially happy with this ending, I do believe it creates more interesting questions, because you have to wonder, the hand was still at Mia's home, and assuming that the police came or with the ambulance because of her attacking her father, that hand was likely confiscated as evidence. So you have to wonder, how did these people at this party get a hand to connect with Mia's ghost? It makes me think they couldn't have, because that would have been locked up. So what if there are multiple versions of this hand that just exist out there that allow people to connect to demons? I thought it was a really great film. It was certainly entertaining for me. But to be quite honest, whenever I'm at the Alamo Draft House, I have a great time. Vegan burger with a basket of fries, medium Sprite, little ice. Sounds like a good time to me. But I would recommend the film. It is quite entertaining. I'm not quite sure that it's done something spectacularly new, but it's a great first effort for these filmmakers, and I would very much like to see future work that they put out. Anyways, I appreciate you all for watching this video and my review of Talk to Me. Now, if you don't mind, I have a claw to connect me to the demon plane. Woo-ha-ha-ha-ha.